Welcome to SH English Documentary. We are plunging immediately into the bloodiest, absolutely most consequential betrayal in political history. I mean, this is a moment that didn't just end a single man's life. It violently shattered a centuries-old republic and honestly changed the entire course of human civilization forever. So picture this. The date is March 15th, 44 BCE. Julius Caesar, literally the most powerful man in Rome, is walking into what he thinks is a totally routine Senate meeting. The atmosphere is kind of tense, but he is completely unaware that the very colleagues surrounding him, guys he has personally pardoned, promoted, and trusted, are hiding sharpened daggers right beneath the heavy, thick folds of their traditional togas. And then, within minutes, the trap just snaps shut. The sheer brutality of this attack was absolute. According to historical records, Caesar suffered 23 stab wounds as this frantic mob of senators descended on him. But you know what's really interesting? The ancient physician Antistius, who actually examined the body, determined that out of all those vicious strikes, only a single wound to the chest was actually fatal. Crazy, right? Okay, let's dive into this. Why on earth was Rome's greatest military and political leader brutally murdered by his own friends and colleagues? Was this a desperate, patriotic bid by idealists trying to save a nation from a tyrant? Or was it just a ruthless, jealous power grab by a corrupt political elite who were terrified of losing their grip on society? To really understand the murder, we've got to look back at the Rome that Caesar grew up in. Long before the Roman Empire existed, there was the Roman Republic. But by Caesar's time, it was deeply fractured, completely steeped in corruption, and basically dominated by just a few incredibly wealthy families. Now, from a really young age, Caesar proved he just wouldn't bow to this broken system. I mean, when the ruthless dictator Sulla ordered a young Caesar to divorce his wife, Caesar flat out refused. He risked his life, lost his property, and went into hiding. So he was ambitious and fiercely independent right out of the gate. Fast forward a bit to 60 BCE. Caesar had managed to form this massive unofficial alliance known to history as the First Triumvirate. It was kind of like a political supergroup. He combined his unparalleled political skill and charisma with the unmatched military might of Pompey the Great and the vast, almost unimaginable wealth of Marcus Licinius Crassus. Together, these three men completely dominated Roman politics, effectively bypassing the traditional authority of the Senate altogether. But here's the thing. Caesar knew he needed his own military glory to truly cement his legacy. So, for 8 brutal years, he waged the Gallic Wars, conquering the regions we now know as France and Belgium. This relentless campaign brought him unprecedented wealth and immense popularity back home with everyday Roman citizens. But, most dangerously, it got him a fiercely loyal personal army. His battle-hardened soldiers fought for Caesar the man, not for the state of Rome. And as you can imagine, this absolutely terrified the Senate. When his governorship in Gaul finally came to an end, the political tension just reached a breaking point. The Senate gave Caesar a really strict ultimatum: disband your army and return to Rome as a private, unarmed citizen. But Caesar knew that if he returned without his troops, it would leave him completely vulnerable to malicious political prosecution from his bitter enemies. He was basically backed into a very dangerous corner. So the crucial point is, in 49 BCE, Caesar makes a world-changing decision. He actually led his armed legion across the Rubicon River, which was the northern border of Italy. By ancient Roman law, a general bringing his army across this border was an explicit, unforgivable act of treason. As he crossed, fully aware that there was absolutely no turning back, he reportedly uttered the famous phrase, "Alia iacta est," the die is cast. And with that single definitive step, he officially ignited a catastrophic civil war. The resulting civil war saw Caesar rapidly and brilliantly dismantle his opposition. In 48 BCE, he decisively defeated his former ally, Pompey, at the Battle of Pharsalus. Pompey fled to Egypt, only to be assassinated by the Egyptian court, a tragic end that actually deeply upset Caesar. While he was down in Egypt, Caesar secured the throne for Cleopatra, which further expanded his wealth and global influence. So by the time he finally returned to Rome, he was the undisputed master of the Roman world. Ironically, Caesar used his new supreme power to pass incredibly popular social reforms. We're talking debt relief, land distributions for his veterans, and even the creation of the Julian calendar, which is literally the exact basis for the calendar you use today. But in early 44 BCE, he was appointed Dictator Perpetuo, dictator for life. To the Romans, who had violently overthrown their kings centuries earlier, permanent, absolute authority was their absolute greatest nightmare. The Senate was just terrified he would soon declare himself a literal king. This intense existential fear is what birthed the ultimate conspiracy. Around 60 senators secretly banded together. The tactical mastermind was a guy named Gaius Cassius Longinus, but the most crucial, symbolic figure was Marcus Junius Brutus. Brutus was this conflicted idealist whose own ancestor was celebrated for overthrowing Rome's last king. But the heavy irony here? Brutus had actively fought against Caesar in the Civil War, yet Caesar had not only forgiven him, but heavily favored and promoted him. Brutus was effectively plotting to murder a man who treated him like a son. The terrifying buildup to the assassination is steeped in eerie, honestly unsettling legend. Ancient historians report all these chilling, unheeded warnings surrounding Caesar. A local seer famously warned him directly to beware the Ides of March. And the night before the attack, his wife Calpurnia suffered dark, violent nightmares of his bloodied body, literally begging him to stay home. But Caesar, who was persuaded by one of the conspirators that staying home would make him look weak, went to the Senate anyway. Which brings us right back to the theater of Pompeii on that fateful morning. In a totally twisted stroke of historical irony, the Senate was temporarily meeting in a grand complex built by Caesar's defeated rival, Pompey. As Caesar took his seat directly beneath Pompey's towering statue, the trap was sprung. A senator pulled sharply at Caesar's toga as a signal, and Casca struck the first panicked blow. The violent mob descended, and the dictator for life was hopelessly overwhelmed. And this brilliantly illustrates how history is often shaped by popular media rather than actual facts. Because if I ask you for Caesar's final words, you'd almost certainly say, "Et tu, Brute," and "you, Brutus." But that's a total myth, dramatically invented centuries later by William Shakespeare. In reality, historical sources suggest Caesar either said a Greek phrase of profound betrayal, kai su teknon, meaning "you too, child," or perhaps even more hauntingly, he simply pulled his toga over his face and died in absolute silence. Now, the assassins stood there in the Senate covered in blood, fully expecting to be hailed as patriotic heroes, but they wildly, fatally miscalculated the public's reaction. At Caesar's funeral, his loyal lieutenant Mark Antony delivered a fiery, brilliant speech. He read Caesar's will, which generously left money to the common Roman citizens, and he held up his bloody, torn toga. The public's initial confusion instantly turned to violent, unstoppable outrage, and the terrified conspirators were forced to flee Rome for their lives. So, the ultimate crushing historical irony here is that by murdering Caesar to save the Roman Republic, the conspirators actually triggered its final inevitable collapse. They plunged Rome into over a decade of fresh, devastating civil wars, ending with their own defeat at Philippi in 42 BCE. Ultimately, Caesar's adopted heir Octavian emerged victorious, and in 27 BC, he became the Emperor Augustus. The assassins didn't save the Republic, they aggressively birthed the Roman Empire. Even over 2,000 years later, the debate still burns brightly. Was Brutus a principled patriot fighting courageously against tyranny, or a treacherous, misguided villain who doomed his nation to centuries of imperial rule? History is rarely black and white, and the shadow of the Ides of March still looms incredibly large over how we view power and betrayal today. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. And if you'd like to stay connected with us and be the first to watch our latest videos, make sure to subscribe to our channel and turn on the notification bell.